Hello, this is History Boomerang. This is my last story of the night. If some of you youngins out there don't remember Richard Nixon, Richard Nixon was my mom's favorite person in the world. And, of course, I thought Richard Nixon was a crook. And during the time when people were trying to prove he was a crook, I had broken my leg and had to move back home for a little while as a young adult. And so what I did to pass my time is I sat and listened to the impeachment hearings for Richard Nixon. And it didn't matter what evidence they brought out. My mom said he and his whole family are good people, and she would not believe what was going on. So I'm just going to tell you a quick little joke from this folklore book, and then that's probably all I can do because the rest of them are not agreeable. But I'll play you just a little build up first for all you youngins that don't know Richard Nixon.
And I want to say this to the television audience. I made my mistakes, but in all of my years of public life, I have never profited from public service. I've earned every cent. And in all of my years of public life, I have never obstructed justice. And I think, too, that I can say that in my years of public life, that I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. I've earned everything I've got.
President?
Yes, sir.
I am not a crook, even though he ordered the Democratic headquarters to be bugged. The Democratic headquarters were called Watergate, and he was going to be impeached, but he saw the writing on the wall and he resigned first. So I want to tell you a little bit of story about Mr. President. It's not true, people. It's just made up. It's just for fun. It's kind of gross humor. But it's about his wife, Pat Nixon, who my mom just thought was the berries. Anyway, and this is not true. So maybe History Boomerang is not the right category. How about history crap? Okay? So Pat Nixon went to the doctor for a physical. That was his wife. And oh, my mom's not watching from heaven right now. 5 doctors examined her. Just go back to my mom and dad for a minute. My mom was a diehard Republican, and my dad was a diehard Democrat. So it didn't matter what they voted because every time they went to vote, they canceled out each other's vote. So I grew up kind of like the song about the orange and the green in Ireland, not knowing what I would be, and woo, I turned out to be like my dad. Thank God. It's just a joke for you Republicans out there. It's okay. I still love you. One of my best friends is a Republican. Actually, almost every one of my best friends are Republicans. Don't know how that happened. I have maybe 2 liberal friends, but that doesn't have anything to do with this story. So here's the story. Pat Nixon, his wife, remember this is not true. This is history crap to be funny. She went to the doctor for a physical. 5 doctors examined her, and all 5 of them came up with the same diagnosis. She had crabs. The doctors just didn't know how they would ever get up enough nerve or guts to tell their patient, the president's wife, of all people, what was the matter with her. Finally, the anesthesiologist perked up, and he said, "It's all right, fellas. When she wakes up, I'll just tell her that her Watergate's been bugged."
To Vice President Nixon from Mr. Van Oker.
Mr. Vice President, since the question of executive leadership is a very important campaign issue, I'd like to follow Mr. Novin's question. Now, Republican campaign slogans, you see them on signs around the country as we did last week, say, "It's experience that counts." That's over a picture of yourself, sir. Implying that you've had more governmental executive decision-making experience than your opponent.
This is
now,
really
in his news conference on August 24th, President Eisenhower was asked if one example of a major idea of yours that
I'll
he adopted.
just tell her that her
reply was,
Watergate's been bugged.
"If you give me a week, I might think of one. I don't remember." Now, that was a month ago, sir, and the president hasn't brought it up since. And I'm wondering, sir, if you can clarify which version is correct, the one put out by Republican campaign leaders or the one put out by President Eisenhower?
Well, I would suggest, Mr. Van Oker, that if you know the president, that was probably a facetious remark. I would also suggest that insofar as his statement is concerned, that I think it would be improper for the President of the United States to disclose the instances in which members of his official family had made recommendations, as I have made them through the years, to him, which he has accepted or rejected. We leave proud of the people who have stood by us and worked.
I can't get to a good stopping place, so we leave proud when he resigned from office of the people that stood by us. Remember, this was not true. It was all folklore, jokes, funny, haha. Bye.